Please, this story needs to stay between us. Let me tell you about my cousin. He's not mentally stable, not someone you'd call sane. A week ago, he came to stay with me. He had nowhere else to go. He showed up smiling, in a perfect suit, carrying a strange briefcase. By 1 p.m., he was already at the table, smiling at me in that suit. I asked why he got fired from his job as a doctor. He smiled wider and said, "I just love my patients too much." That answer unsettled me, like there was something darker behind it. I gave him my daughter's old room she had moved in with her mom. That night, I heard laughter from his room, sometimes stifled giggles, sometimes whispers. I approached his door, unsure of what he was doing, but it didn't sound good. I knocked. He eventually opened, still in the same suit, smiling. He seemed to be hiding something behind his back. I just said goodnight and went to bed, uneasy. The noises continued, until dawn. Next morning I saw him through the window walking toward the chicken coop. In that suit I didn't think much of it. Maybe he was exploring. That night the noises came from the kitchen and the backyard. I was too exhausted to check. The next day he was acting even stranger. When I wasn't looking, I'd catch him, raising a finger to his lips like he was keeping a secret. That night everything changed. Elric was laughing hysterically. I decided to confront him. I went to his door, locked. I kicked it open. He sat on the floor, suit spotless, grinning madly. His lips were smeared with lipstick. In his hands, one of my daughter's dolls, its stomach cut open like a surgical patient. Lipstick smeared across its face as if he'd kissed it. "Do you like it, cousin?" he said. "I take good care of them." I staggered back, horrified. Then, I remembered the chickens. I grabbed a flashlight and ran to the coop, feathers everywhere, door ajar. Inside, horror, dead chickens, mutilated, some eyeless. One had a wire shoved into its wing, like he'd installed something. I looked closer. There was lipstick on its beak. I clutched my head, furious, ready to beat him unconscious. Then I heard it, a voice, a girl, screaming for help. I ran toward the sound. Behind the cabin, a hole in the ground. Inside, a young woman. Lipstick on her face, head wrapped in bandages, no legs. She clawed at the dirt, trying to escape. "Please help." I froze. Then a knock at the cabin window. I looked up. Elric, he waved, in his other hand. The doll, waving too. I fainted. What happened to me? I'm alive. But now, he takes care of me, feeds me, through a tube. Today he said I no longer need to walk. After all we need is love. I received the first message 3 days ago. I was on my break at work and I got a text notification. It was odd. It was from an unknown number. Normally I ignored those sorts of messages. Spammers and the like usually showed up with those types of auto texts. But this one was different. It was so strange because no number showed up at all, just the message, hide and seek. I thought someone might have the wrong number for a friend they were trying to get in touch with to play a game apparently. So I responded, "Think you have the wrong number. Not sure who you are trying to reach, but they are not here." I went about the rest of my workday and was just wrapping things up. When I pulled my phone from my bag, I saw I had another text waiting for me. Same number or lack of number. It was just another blank line where a number should display and the message, hide and seek. I was confused and slightly annoyed, so I responded again. "Like I said before, I think you have the wrong number. Who is this? Who are you trying to get a hold of to play hide and seek?" I waited, staring at the screen for a minute, and I was about to put it away when I saw a response. "You hide and seek?" My patience had reached its limit, and I figured if they would not answer, then I would just block the non-existent number and hope it would work. Despite the lack of a visible number, the option on the message thread still presented itself, so I was relieved when the weird conversation vanished. I got in my car and started to drive home. I got another notification as I got on the road and used my car's text-to-speech to read it to me. It was Mike, my roommate. He was asking me to pick up more beer from the store, since he had apparently finished off what we had left. I groaned at the message, and the fact that I was always the one to buy it for us. It was getting old, but I needed a drink after the night I had, so I sent him a message back saying, "I can this time, but if you are going to keep drinking everything we have, then you better start paying for it." I stopped by a nearby gas station close to our apartment and grabbed a case of Miller and continued home. As soon as I got back in the car, I received another text. I was getting annoyed already since I figured it was Mike complaining about being out of something else. But instead, as the text-to-speech read out the message, I knew it was something else. Seek, drink? It made sense now, and I immediately called Mike. He answered after several rings and sounded stoned. "Hey man, what's up? Did you grab the beer?" "Yeah, I did. Are you messing with me? How are you sending those messages? When I call you, I can see your number, but not when you sent that weird text. What kind of app are you using? Also, what is the point?" "I am not home yet. I can't play hide and seek, never mind that I'm not 5 years old." The seek drink thing was a bit of a giveaway for whatever weird game you were playing. There was a brief pause and he responded, "Not sure what you mean, man. I didn't send anything like that. Weird. Who wants to play hide and seek? Anyway, get home, man. My buzz is fading." He hung up on me and I was even more confused. If he had not sent the message, who did? I drove home feeling a little on edge. When I got back inside, Mike greeted me at the door. Of course, by greeted, I mean he took the case of beer and walked to the fridge, removed two, and sat back down on the couch. "Nice to see you too," I mumbled under my breath. I wanted to ask again about the weird message, but I just shrugged and grabbed a drink for myself and lumbered to my room. I was tired, so I decided to call it an early night. When I stepped into my room, my phone buzzed, and I saw another text. From no number, almost time, hide, or seek. I was getting creeped out at that point. I did not know how the messages kept getting through after blocking it. I decided to respond again. "Stop messaging me. I do not know who this is, and I do not want to play. Leave me alone." I hit send and tried blocking it again. This time I turned my phone off for good measure. I tried to settle down and just go to sleep. I managed to nod off for a bit, but after a while I heard a knock at my door. I jolted up and heard the slurring voice of Mike. "Hey man, I don't know what the hell, but I think someone is trying to get a hold of you. I just got a trippy message and it sounded like what you were talking about earlier. Check it out." I rushed to the door and saw Mike looking at his phone in a confused stupor. I grabbed it from him and looked at the message. Last chance, hide, or seek. My heart sank and I felt a wave of panic rising in my chest. I asked Mike, "When did you get this?" He shrugged his shoulders. "A while ago, man. I don't remember exactly. I was not looking at my phone. What's going on?" I stepped back into my room and turned my own phone back on. "Sure, enough I had a missed message, okay? You hide." I stared at the words in mounting fear. I had no idea what to do, but I felt suddenly exposed. I considered calling the police, but I did not know what I would tell them. Nothing had happened, only a creepy text thread. Yet something felt wrong, like something bad was about to happen. I looked over at Mike, and he looked confused and a bit paranoid as well. Before I could try and explain things, the lights went out. At first, I thought it might be a power outage. Then I heard the slow creaking sound of the front door opening. Despite being sure I had locked it when I got home, terror gripped me, and I knew something was very wrong. I crouched down in the dark and whispered to Mike the only thing I could think to say, "Hide." I crawled on my floor and under my bed. I was about to call 911 when my phone suddenly died as well. It was on one moment and then just lost power, despite having over half a charge left. I put the useless device in my pocket and tried to see if there was anything I could use as a light source. I froze and thought better about moving when I heard a strange shuffling sound, then heavy footsteps, much heavier than Mike's. I noticed the temperature in the room had dropped suddenly and it felt like it was freezing. As the footsteps resounded and moved closer, I smelled a fetid tinge in the air as well, like something rotten. I crawled as far back and huddled up as small as I could make myself under the bed and held my breath. I heard my closet door gently shutting and thought it might be Mike hiding in there. Then the heavy footsteps picked up the pace. I suddenly realized if I could hear the door closing, whatever the hell was in here with us could hear it too. I considered calling out to Mike to move, but fear froze my voice. The heavy footsteps were in the room now. Despite my efforts to try and see what stalked us, I could not make anything out. I sat there, silent and immobile, holding my breath and waiting. After several long moments, I thought we might be safe. Then I heard the door to the closet break and shatter. Then Mike screamed, a haunting and nightmare-inducing shriek. Something had found him. The cry of terror was suddenly silenced. I did not hear anything violent, just the scream, and then utter silence. I had no idea what the hell had just happened. For a long while I sat there paralyzed with fear, until finally the light came back on. When I summoned the courage to creep out from under the bed and see what had happened, I was shocked when laying on the ground was the shattered remains of my closet door. Despite the ruin of the door, there were no traces of anyone or anything else. Mike had vanished. I slowly called out, louder and more emboldened, as I moved into the hall where the light was on again. No one responded. No one else was there. I stumbled through the apartment searching for my roommate, but he was gone. Worse still, I had no idea just where the hell he had gone. No trace of Mike has shown up in the last couple days since it happened. I don't know if anything will. I think he can finally be declared missing, but I don't know if it will do any good. It was impossible, but whatever had broken into our place had found him, and now he was missing. He had lost hide and seek, and that thing, whatever it was, took him away. The entire nightmare is unbelievable, yet even now, as I write about my friend's impossible disappearance, I am shocked when I receive another text, hide and seek. I don't know what to do. I don't know what this is. Maybe I should respond again, a different way this time. Maybe it might help, might keep me safe from whatever or whoever is doing this. Perhaps I can find out. My reply is one word: seek. Like everyone else, I'd seen it in the headlines. 17-year-old girl still missing. Jasmine showed up to school only once after news of her sister broke, but by second period she'd vanished. It reminded me of last year, when her mother had taken that terrible fall down the stairs. She'd hidden then too, like she was trying to hide from the pain itself. I ditched class and found her crouched by the school courtyard fountain, tears streaking her face. Without thinking, I handed her a tissue and let her lean on my shoulder until she calmed down. Gently, I put an arm around her. I know this is hell for you and your dad. She jerked away. Don't you dare speak like you know him. What? Did I say something bad? No, she shrank into herself. It's just, you have no idea what my home life is like. Dad's different. No, I'd never faced loss that sharp. But I remembered my grandpa after his second wife passed. He'd taught me coin tricks, like weaving them through my fingers, but when I tried to cheer him up, he snapped and called it a stupid waste of money. I don't think anyone handles this sort of thing well, and after your mum too. He's only human. Sometimes, she whispered, I don't think he is. She let her words hang in the air. I didn't hear from her for 3 weeks after that. It was June and our mid-year assessments were fast approaching. I was cramming for an AP mathematics test when my phone chimed. Where do we stand? She texted. In all our conversations, she'd never been so blunt, but I understood. When life's chaotic, you grasp for anything stable, figuring out which relationships matter most. I took a deep breath and replied, I want something serious, a real relationship. I get it if you need to put things on hold, though. 3 dots wobbled on my screen for several minutes before she finally wrote back, let's talk things out at mine. I'll be there tonight, I texted. I slipped on a collared shirt, slim jeans, and cleaned the car in case we drove anywhere. She liked going for long drives in the dark, where we could talk our feelings through without looking eye to eye. My phone dinged right as I pulled up out front of her house, and I pictured her waiting for me by the window, but instead she texted, running late on errands. Keys are under the pot plant. Let yourself in. I twisted the handle and stepped inside. The lights were all on, but the house felt empty, sterile, like a show home for real estate. A chemical smell like bleach or dishwasher liquid clung to the air. Family photos framed the hallway. Jasmine, her missing sister Serena, and their dad, Isaiah. Only one photo showed their mother. Isaiah had taken down all photos of her after the accident, and now there were just faint outlines where frames once hung. My phone buzzed again. "Which room are you in?" I thought that was strange. Maybe she was worried about me snooping. "I just walked in," I texted back. "Okay, wait in the living room." Suddenly, a slow, wet thud thumped above me. Something heavy, like bowling balls rolling off a shelf. Her dad shouldn't have been home. He worked night shifts, but something about it drew me to investigate. I climbed the stairs. "Hello?" With each step, the thrashing grew more insistent. Then I identified the sound. Shoes. Shoes that were pushing against the floor like somebody was trying to stand up on a slippery surface. There was a smell, too. A tangy, acidic smell. Like someone had forgotten to flush the toilet in summer. I pinched my nose, but once the smell was inside, it didn't leave. At the landing, I followed it to a bedroom door. The latch had caught improperly, and the door was slightly ajar. I pushed it open. Serena lay handcuffed to the bed, socks and duct tape gagging her mouth. Her skin was pale, eyes wide. When she saw me, her fingers twitched and her mouth bit at the restraints. Mph. The floor beneath her and her dress were stained with bodily waste no one had bothered to clean. She thrashed harder against the restraints. "Shh! Holy shit! Are you okay?" I stammered. Then the question hit me. If Serena had been missing for weeks, what was she doing here? "Do you know where the keys are?" I searched the room but found no keys. The cuffs were locked to a wooden banister. I considered kicking the beam to break it, but before I could act, every light died. A door slammed below, and heavy footsteps thundered up the stairs. I darted into the closet just as the intruder appeared. In the closet were supplies, duct tape, zip ties, bleach, and a packet of medical scalpels. He paused inside the darkened room, sniffing the air like an animal. Narrow-shouldered and corded with muscle, there was something uncanny about him I couldn't place until he turned, and I could barely make out his face. Isaiah, her father. He ripped the tape from Serena's mouth. "Where is he?" he demanded. When she shook her head, he struck her across the temple. "He brought outside filth to your sister. Her shape didn't hold. It tore. Only his blood can make amends." He reset the gag and pulled out his phone. The glow from the screen, the only light in the room, it lit up his face more clearly, and I now saw his eyes. They were rolled back in his head and twitching, like something was pulling from inside. Hanging from his jaw was a bumpy sheet of dangling flesh, like a turkey, blistered with red warts. My own phone buzzed in my pocket, Jasmine's face on the caller ID. Isaiah strained to listen. Thankfully, my phone had been on silent and only buzzed softly. Unsuccessful, he reached for a spray bottle on the bedside counter. You. Serena struggled. "Did he touch you?" He misted the spray in the air. "We'll need to start the process over if your skin is to be of any use to us." Serena attempted one final protest. Isaiah ignored her and sprayed the contents into her face. She screamed again, writhing in the cuffs like a dying bug. There was something in the air, a biting chlorine smell. Bleach. When he spoke this time, his voice was not his own, but that of Jasmine's. One last time. "Where is the boy who defiled the girl?" Tears in her eyes, blinking against the sting of bleach, Serena lifted her head. My chest constricted. This was it. I never should have come here. I'd felt something was off from the moment I stepped inside the house, but instead she grunted softly and nodded toward the bed's underside. Isaiah dropped to his hands and knees. As he peered underneath, she flicked her eyes at me and mouthed one word: "Run." Guilt roiled in my stomach, but I swallowed it and bolted from the closet. Isaiah jerked his head up too quickly and struck the bed frame. As he was recovering, Serena managed to kick his leg out from under him. In the precious few seconds that moment bought me, I dove down the stairs and into the night. My pulse hammered in my throat. My legs were numb, and I didn't realize how fast I'd been running until I stopped to catch my breath. When I did, I heaved the contents of my lunch onto the asphalt. I didn't see Isaiah anywhere on the street, so I took out my phone and called the police. When the blue and red lights flashed down the road, I felt safe enough to creep out of my hiding place and meet them as they stepped out of the car. "Stay here," they ordered. I intended to do just that, but before I knew it, I was pacing up to the front window and peering inside. Their flashlights swept the floor. One hovered back to a pile of pink clothes folded on the living room floor. They hadn't been there before. The officer stepped closer, the light intensifying on the pink mass. Only then did I see it for what it was. Flabby folds of skin, a flesh suit turned inside out. There was blood and juice and hair, but no bones. Nothing solid. It could have been worn like a coat. I wondered if they'd find Serena in the same state, like she'd been unzipped. It stirred my belly and I backed away before I could analyze the scene anymore. They finished the sweep and met me outside. One of the officers, Ike, kept showing me a photo of Isaiah on his phone. "Are you sure it was him? The preacher? Her? Father did this?" All I could muster was, "Did you find anything in Jasmine's room?" Officer Ike winced at that. "The pillow has been submitted into evidence, and we won't know for sure until we get a DNA result from the blood, but..." He struggled with the next word. "I'm not going to lie to you, kid. It's unlikely anything good happened to her." "It could have been anyone's blood," I protested, but I didn't believe it myself. Jasmine's words echoed in my head. "You have no idea what my home life is like." Ike smiled apologetically. "The blood is several weeks old. When was the last time you heard from Jasmine? In person, I mean." 3 weeks ago, I said flatly. He patted my shoulder. "Would you mind showing me the text messages? It can wait if you need time to recollect yourself." "No," I said. "Let's get it done now." I removed my phone from my pocket, and that's when I noticed a new message from Jasmine. "Don't wait up. I'll find you."